Here we have one of the most infamous episodes of all time. Not because it has Romulans in it and but actually because of the fact that it introduces an alien threat that never actually gets resolved in TNG. Because, like, in TNG, the Iconians are presented as this ancient civilization who are probably dead and gone. Probably. Although they did leave stuff behind that was, dangerous. And this is also one of those things where I could definitely see someone going to Iconia and being like, yes, actually, we do want to learn about Iconian technology. We know it's dangerous, but we we think there's more to be gained than, the risks. Uh, yeah, there's been more than one ship destroyed by this, so one of the things that's interesting in Star Trek is the sheer number of times where they're like, "Hey, we found a planet that we are going to do research on." It's like, so how many planets are in Federation space that the Federation has never even been to? Anyway, this one is in the neutral zone between the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire. Well, on the surface, that seems like a good logic for why it's largely unexplored. That doesn't explain how no one went there before the neutral zone was drawn in its current status. Anyway, though, uh, being that as it may, the whole ancient alien of the week thing is absolutely something that TOS did, TNG did, and pretty much every other incarnation of Star Trek has done too. So, doing a plot about some mysterious alien outpost that was discovered in a location people hadn't found a mysterious alien outpost before. Yeah, I just reminded myself of the fact that one of the other ones that they did in TNG was actually a piece of alien stuff embedded in an asteroid that when the Enterprise tried to scan the asteroid, it did a weird thing with the Enterprise's computer and causing the ship to slowly start to eat itself. That was fun. That actually really was a particularly interesting episode. It has the whole logical question of how do you have an alien computer take over yours? It doesn't logically make sense. Although they do kind of sort of hint in the episode that they may have um, inadvertently bypassed certain safeguards that should have been in place. Uh, anyway, though. So, writing this in a TTRPG, would you want to go with the Iconians? Well, the premise of the Iconians is that the Iconians, well, they did have a homeworld that was their most populated planet and so on and so forth. The Iconians were a race that were most famous for the fact that they could travel light years in seconds. I mean, Iconian gateway technology is seemingly capable of going all the way from Iconia to Earth. Just open a portal, walk through the portal, boom. No, no spending however many days flying at warp, whatever. No, you just teleport across the map. That's a technology that would be very, very useful to have, and trying to get a working example would be something that would make a lot of sense as a story objective, even if you're trying to prevent an enemy from doing that. That would be worthwhile as a plot hook. Now, the idea of where to put them, well, that's the funny thing, is that the Iconia story, the way that the story is written, is set so far in the past relative to modern time frame in universe, that is, that and the fact that the Iconians are able to travel such large distances so quickly, you could basically put the planet wherever you wanted. They actually did that in DS9. There was a second Iconian episode in DS9 where they found an Iconian gateway someplace where they're like, wait a second, the Iconians were able to come all the way over here? And yeah, it's like at the height of their power, the Iconians were seemingly a race that could go almost anywhere in the Milky Way galaxy they wanted. So throwing out an old Iconian thingy somewhere that the players have no reason to suspect was there because no one had noticed it previously totally works. You don't even need to make it like a planet that was like completely owned by them or even uninhabited in modern times. Just like, say it was like buried or something and inactive for until someone uh, entered it. Because that's actually a real thing with Iconian stuff in TNG is that they didn't detect energy signatures from Iconian stuff when it was turned off. And the big glowing orb that Data is looking at in this rather famous scene here didn't register as having an energy signature until they turned it on. And that's where things got interesting. Oh, and one of the amusing parts about this episode is that this is an episode where being an android is a bad thing. Yeah, the Iconian stuff tries to interface with Data because artificial life form. Anyway, though, having this as like a there's several different approaches you could go with this actually though, because like if they were to find an Iconian outpost buried underneath what is currently a colony, because it's a nice planet, the Iconians wanted to live there too. Makes sense, right? Well, you could have that as the Iconian outpost causing problems by making the outposts, the modern outposts, Federation outposts, that is, uh, computers and stuff start to stop working and doing the same sort of weird stuff that resulted in the Yamato exploding. And that would actually be a pretty interesting plot hook. Where you could just go with, "Hey, we found something. Come look at it." And oh wait, it's doing stuff. Also, the angle of stopping someone else from getting Iconian technology is another good one because of the fact that if you actually were able to make Iconian tech work and not just randomly brick your computers, uh, it is extremely dangerous because you can do stuff with it. The kind of stuff that people would want to have, honestly. Anyway, though, so there's actually several different angles you could run with an Iconian uh, inspired plot. It wouldn't necessarily even need to be Iconian technology because, as I mentioned before, it's like the whole like ancient alien race thing has been done so many times with so many different races that the Iconians aren't even the only ones that this has been done with. So you could just make up a new one and do a different ancient whatever, which, um, there's a lot. If you're going to go with the make up a new alien race, mixing inspiration between this and something else would actually be a really good idea too. Anyways, then you go.